Hello YouTubers! Today I'm going to show you how to replace the starter in a 1995 SeaDoo XP 800. This video should also be helpful for anyone who owns a 96 XP, 97 through 99 SPX, and 96 through 97 GTX, since all of these skis share the same 787 carbureted engine that is in my 95 XP 800. If your ski turns over slowly or not at all, it could be the starter or the battery cables. In my case, it's the starter that is bad, and I will be swapping it out with another starter that I rebuilt in a prior YouTube video. So let's go ahead and get started.
So the first thing I'm going to do is we got to remove this airbox cover. So first you want to start off by removing these clips, and you just pull up on these tabs and it should slide off. And then once you got them all removed, just lift up on this cover. It should come out. And then the next thing you want to do is take a 5mm Allen, and we got to remove all of these bolts here. So we've got 6 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these removed now. Okay, got the last bolt out. So you want to remove the metal piece first. Sometimes this plastic piece can be a little difficult to get out, but usually I slide it out in between where the exhaust pipe is and the top of the engine compartment is at. Now that we have the airbox removed, we have plenty of room to get to the starter, which is located right down there. But before we proceed, we want to make sure we have either the battery removed or the negative cable disconnected from the battery, because we're going to have to play with the positive cable because it connects directly to the starter, and I should be pointing at it right now. It should be right here. It should be a positive cable. So the first thing we want to do is take a 10mm bolt and remove this this nut. Now it's imperative that you make sure you have the battery disconnected before you start loosening this bolt. Now my battery is disconnected, so it should just be a 10mm. Now that we got the positive cable removed from the starter, the next thing we want to do is take a 5mm Allen, and we have to remove this bolt right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Next I'm going to remove this 13mm nut. We're almost there. All we have are 2 more bolts to remove. We have a 6mm here, and then we have a 6mm down there. And then we'll be able to get the starter out, and then we can get to our ground cable that we need to remove. I'm going to start with the hardest 6mm bolt to remove, and that's the one that you probably can't see. Got the last bolt here, the top one. Should be pretty easy to get to. Once you crack it loose, you should be able to loosen it the rest of the way with your hand.
Once all the bolts are removed, slide the starter back and position it so you have access to the ground cable. You'll need a 13mm socket or wrench to remove the ground cable from the starter. We are now ready to install the rebuilt starter. If you are installing a rebuilt starter or a used starter, make sure the surface where the ground cable connects to the starter is clean. If not, use sandpaper to clean this area. Once I have everything clean, the installation is the complete opposite of how we removed it. First, install the ground cable and tighten a 13mm bolt. Once I have the bottom bolt tightened, I install the last 2 bolts that mount the front of the starter to the engine. Now that we have all the starter bolts tightened, install the positive cable to the starter. Be very careful not to over tighten the 10mm bolt, as you can break the post. Once you have all the bolts tightened, you're now ready to install the top airbox cover. This goes on pretty easy. Just press down on it, make sure you get a good seal, and then you just take these clips and push them into place, and they snap in like so. Should lock in. Once I finished installing the airbox, I reconnected the battery so we could test it. Moment of truth, fingers crossed. Sweet! Success! Hopefully seeing this video will show you that installing a starter on a SeaDoo 787 engine isn't all that bad. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer them. If you'd like to see my other SeaDoo videos, click the playlist link in the description. So long!